roller coaster ride in Columbia, but the Vols find a way to get it done and come out on top. I'm sure we are going to have a rant or two, but welcome to Talkin VAWLS.
The songs how like me, poets at an arcade, soaking moonlit falls, unbroken past this inundated orb that we call home, and it's night and I'm alone and I'm alive.
Welcome to Talkin VAWLS, episode number 96. My name is Boogie Bentley.
I'm Vols JP.
And I'm UT Dauber. What's happening?
We're going to jump right. Are we happy? Are we happy or are we a little bit nervous?
End result.
A W is a W. We are glad you're here. We're getting fired up here. We got about 40 people hanging out in the chat. Do us a favor. Always hit that thumbs up and share out the link, whether that be on Twitter, on Facebook, Instagram, somewhere. Tell somebody that Talkin VAWLS is live. We want you guys to come in and talk about this win over South Carolina. We got some concerns, but at the end of the day, a win is a win, and the Vols are 1-0. Running down the chat here, IC86 is here, says it was good and bad for both teams. Aaron Brown hanging out in the chat. Ravens fan, 1998. Matt Baines is here, the innocent culprit. Wayne Shelton. Wayne, I'm surprised you're still awake, buddy. Way to hang in there. Way to give your all for Tennessee. We are glad that you guys are all here. So let's get into it. I guess we'll go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. We said that Jarrett Garantano had to just manage the game to win. I think if we looked at his stats, we looked at, just on paper, he managed the game and they won. But this was South Carolina. JP, I can see you're not even happy. The Vols won, and I can tell you were frustrated. What do you think? Just overall thoughts on the game?
I mean, Garantano, it's the same thing. I mean, inconsistent. I mean, it's just maddening. I mean, look at the throw that he threw Palmer in the end zone for the touchdown there. I mean, perfect throw. Absolutely perfect. The play before that, he threw a perfect throw. But then he just, I mean, time and time again, I mean, from the very beginning of the game, I mean, he was either behind his receivers or too high.
Or just, throwing 100 miles an hour.
Yeah, I mean, there's just, and I don't get it, fellas, because we see every single year these freshman quarterbacks come in to college football and they play good football and they take over the offense and they do good. Why can Tennessee not find somebody? Why can we not find somebody that can play consistent at the quarterback position? I don't understand why that we continue to struggle with this.
Now, I'm not necessarily going to go that same route, but I will go here. Tennessee, especially recently, has made their offense look like such a struggle. When you turn on any other game and offenses are just clicking and moving the ball down the field, and it is such a grind for our offense to put together a drive to score. I don't get that.
I don't either, because I mean, I watched that kid from Ole Miss today, and I mean, he was on point. I mean, he was on point. A freshman quarterback.
You know what I think the frustration is for us, though? Honestly. And I was thinking about this earlier in the day, thinking about Garantano, and we talked about 2 years with Chaney and fifth-year senior and blah blah blah. I just don't think he's that good. I just don't think he has the accuracy. It has nothing. It has nothing to do with whether he reads a defense right or not. It just blows. I can't wrap my head around it. Like you said,
it's Jekyll and Hyde.
It is that drive where he had those two really good throws, and he hit Palmer in the end zone. Davis in the chat right now sends me a text. He was like, "What a throw!" And all I sent back was shaking my head. Like I'm not even celebrating because my mind is so blown. Like it's just two different people. What's the answer?
Well, it's
Robert saying, the offense is struggling to move the ball. Just freaking complete it's pitch and catch. It's not that
But that's the
complicated.
problem.
well,
If you've got a quarterback that can't complete the simple throws, it's going to continue to be a struggle. I mean,
that's the thing. That is the thing.
It's just over and over and over again every single game.
He can thread the needle and make all these hard throws, but a wide open receiver he misses. And that is what is so mind-boggling. That is what I don't understand. That is what you should not see from a fifth-year senior. Those are mistakes that a true freshman coming in should be making. Those are some mistakes that a transfer from Colorado State should come in and make.
But is it even a mistake? It's almost like it's not. Let's stop calling it mistake. It's just a lack of ability. That's all it is. It's not.
No,
you know what I mean?
It is a mistake when he makes some of the plays that he does make, and he plays to that potential, but then he drops down and can't make an easy play. I don't get it. It is beyond me. I don't have an answer.
And the frustrating part about it is yeah, I mean, we might find a way to go 6-4 with JG, but we're not going to do any better than that. I mean, there's no way. That was not a good South Carolina football team. I mean, it was not a good South. And I know that we're sitting here, talking about JG, and obviously the defense looked like, junk a lot of the game too. But I feel like
they looked like Jekyll and Hyde too. They were hot.
Yeah. But I mean, I think that I have more confidence of the defense improving throughout the season than I do Garantano improving, because we've seen it over and over, multiple seasons. I mean, we've seen this, and it's the same thing, and we hear the same thing. How in practice he's hitting the receivers, and he does this and he does that, and then he gets out in the game. I mean, he started out tonight. I mean, it was the first. Even if those he was completing were behind the receivers. I mean, and then he starts throwing 20 feet over top of their head. And then I don't know. It's maddening. It really is. As a Tennessee fan, it's maddening, because I think Tammy might have said it there in the chat. I saw it. I really think that he's holding the team back. And
but
at some point in time, well, I mean, we've got 3 other quarterbacks. I mean,
the problem is it's like we said.
And I know Bailey has missed a ton of time, but again, what about the guy out there at Ole Miss? I mean, he didn't get spring ball. I
think if a change is made, it's going to be Shrout or Maurer. And obviously Maurer had the hamstring issue in fall camp. We talked about it some on the tailgate show. How long is the leash? Again, we said, don't turn the ball over, manage the game, and get a W. That's what he did. There is no way that Jeremy Pruitt is going to bench him. He's going to have to force Jeremy Pruitt to bench him. And that's where I'm afraid we're going to get into trouble, because like you said, this was South Carolina. So what happens when you're playing against a Florida and these incomplete passes cost you football? That's what's going to happen. Should have lost. They very easily could have lost this game tonight, but it was South Carolina, so they get the win. So how long is the leash, Dauber? Do you think he has to force Pruitt's hand? I just don't see it.
That's my opinion. I think that he's there because of experience and not necessarily talent. I think that's what they're rolling with right now. You give it 3-4 games. I mean, I think that might roll back a little bit more, and you drop a couple games. I think that it's a win now situation. And this right here that's on the screen right now, is JG going to beat Florida? I mean, I don't know, because it's the Jekyll and Hyde thing. And then what do we have to base this on? Florida played Ole Miss today. I mean, we talked about that in the tailgate show. Is Florida really that good, or is Ole Miss that bad? You know, it's hard to call. This whole situation with college football, the way it is right now, where we are, it's hard to base anything. You can't look at last year. You can't look at spring practice or fall camp. You don't have the cupcake games to look at. You are right in what would be the meat of a schedule starting the year off. So it's do you want to put a true freshman who has missed a considerable amount of practice time, practice reps on the field, that's out of the frying pan into the fire in SEC games that matter, not against Southern Miss or whoever, a tune-up game. I know that's the future. That's where this team is going. But do we throw him out there against Florida to get hurt when he makes a misread or holds onto the ball for too long? I mean, we saw Garantano hold onto the ball too long tonight. Mm-hmm. We saw Garantano lock in on receivers like he has done in the past.
This was the same old Jarrett Garantano from last year, that we've always said. Nothing has changed. This is the exact same quarterback. Let me hit this super chat really quick. Joey Inslee dropping $9.99. He didn't have anything to say other than he loves us and he wanted to throw a dime our way. Guys, we appreciate all the super chats, everything you guys do, the money, just hanging out and talking Tennessee football. We definitely appreciate it. Pecan is back. Haven't seen you in a while, buddy.
There's our boy.
That's our boy with the phrase of the evening, Winky the Pooh. But seriously, guys, thanks for the super chat. We appreciate all the love and support. Hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel. We're live every Saturday after the games and every Wednesday night, 7 o'clock Eastern for Talkin Vols live. JP, what would the score of this game, how much different would this game have been if there was a quarterback in the game that just made the throws that he needed to make? So I'm not even talking about, I'm just saying when you've got Keaton running across the field wide open, or you're running a little bootleg stuff, easy pitch and catch. What's the difference in the game?
I mean, I think at halftime it could have been 28-7. And then I'm not sure what happened to the defense. I mean, after that first drive and South Carolina just ran it down our throats at will, Tennessee's defense really stepped up after that drive all the way through the rest of the first quarter and second quarter. And then
listen,
we came out in the third and fourth quarter and we looked horrible again. But I mean, as far as what your answer or your question, Boogie, I think it could have been 28-7 at half.
Well, the Indy Kid is here and says, you just won an SEC game on the road without having enough to even scrimmage. Enjoy the win. And that's the thing. A win is a win, but
it is.
If you're a Tennessee fan and you don't have major concerns moving forward, then we watch two different games. And this is coming from the King Sunshine Bumper.
Here is the thing. We are a Henry T interception and an amazing play and a Eric Gray check down where he absolutely just ran 45 yards in the open field away from being down in the first half, though. I mean, not for those two plays. The offense didn't do anything until later in the game.
To me, there's definitely a lot of concerns, and it all starts with the quarterback. I mean, absolutely. It's going to be that. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, what's going to happen if something doesn't change? Hopefully we'll beat Missouri next week, but again, that's going to be a toss-up game. I mean, every one of these games, that is what's so maddening about it, is that we are one competent quarterback away from being a really good football team. I really believe that.
Absolutely.
Because, part of the reason why that the defense was so bad, part of the reason tonight, is we were 1 for 11 on third downs. We couldn't sustain any kind of drives. I don't know what the time of possession was.
It was huge in their favor. Of course, part of that too is playing into, but Tennessee comes out, start the third quarter and go, upbeat, fast tempo, running the ball, moving the ball. So, it's hard to fault that, but that plays into the time of possession as well. Alan V is here, drops a $5 super chat and says, at least you have a QB. Jamie Newman left Georgia high and dry. Alan, you may be the only Georgia fan on the face of the earth that I actually like, but I'm glad you're here, and we appreciate you supporting the Talkin VAWLS show.
I didn't follow that all that much, but did he leave them high and dry, or did he get outplayed?
No.
Would he have been the starter?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I didn't know if I'd heard somebody say that potentially he opted out because he was beat out in the limited fall camp that they had.
I mean, I would be very surprised by that because there's a lot of people hyping him for the Heisman, and if he couldn't beat out that quarterback that Georgia rolled out today, started that game. I mean, he looked worse than Garantano. But
let's well, let me hit this super chat, and then I want to change gears a little bit. Rick and Melissa with a $4.99 super chat says, go big orange. Again, guys, we are coming out a little negative, but I think for me, when I sit down and watch this game tonight, Jarrett Garantano is the one thing that sticks out like a sore thumb. We said this over and over and over last year. This team is a good, competent quarterback away from doing big things. And like I said, if you watch the same game I did, you know that Jarrett Garantano, if he was just a little bit more consistent, the balls pull away, and we're not even talking about this, and they win with ease.
We said it all season last year. We said it in the tailgate show earlier today. I said if we had even average quarterback play to begin the season last year, we don't start off losing to Georgia State and BYU. We didn't get anything different tonight than we've got from Jarrett Garantano up to this point in his career. It's the same thing.
Scenic is back. We appreciate you hanging out on the tailgate show and says, let's talk about some positives. All right. Enough.
Yeah.
JG. Enough freaking JG. Let's talk about some good things that we saw tonight. I saw somebody in there in the chat earlier complaining about pressure from the defensive line without blitzes. The first series, I was really down on the defensive line. They look slow. They look sluggish, but I feel like that throughout the night, I thought they got some good pressure on the quarterback just coming from the 4 down linemen. Now I was really – Tyler Barron lived in the backfield tonight. Brent Hubb's adopted son, DeAndre Johnson, had some big sacks, and he was in the backfield a lot too, man. Like there are some bright spots on this defensive line that I wasn't so sure about in the first drive. What about you, JP? I know you live and die in the trenches, right? What would you think of the defensive line?
I mean, I think at times that they shine, but there was a lot of times, obviously, that they can't contain for nothing. I mean, outside, I mean, they were just getting out. Our defensive ends were just getting absolutely just pushed down inside, or we weren't containing, or definitely with that. We got some issues there with that. But, I mean, overall, I mean, they were just up and down. I mean, it was just up and down performance for the defensive line. I am very encouraged by Barron. He almost reminds you a little bit of Barnett with that number 9. It's kind of like, man, that's Barnett back there. But I think that as the season goes on, I think that you'll see more and more of number 9 out there for sure. So certainly feel like that he's positive. And I mean, it really hurt tonight with Schamberger out. And I don't know, did anybody confirm if he's hurt or if this is COVID related? Did they ever say?
I never saw anything.
I never either, and I never saw him on the sideline either. So that makes me wonder if he even traveled.
Sounds like he probably didn't travel. Yeah.
And so let me hit this real quick. Pecan for another $2. Thank you for the super chat. Says if it wasn't for that punt mess at the end, we would have been lost. Maybe that's a makeup for the atrocious attempt at a punt early in the game. Somebody else that I was wondering about was McCullough. You know, we kind of talked about it in our text. You know, he wasn't even on the field until
second
little
half.
bit of time. I mean, I didn't see him at all in the third quarter until the very end. So he played basically a quarter.
Yeah, I'm not sure what happened there either. It makes me wonder if he didn't have some kind of disciplinary suspension or something, perhaps. I don't know. I don't know why, or either he was hurt and they felt like that they had to have him out there, or whatever. But I didn't even know half the numbers. I mean, all those guys have changed numbers because Flowers has went from 25 to 1.
And then heck, they were changing.
Zero.
They were changing numbers during the game.
Yeah, how am I supposed to keep up with it when Flowers is changing his number just so he can go out for a touchback?
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I guess I think somebody's talking about Slaughter there. I think he's probably going to be a good player, but he got picked on tonight. You know, I mean, he was thrown in the fire his first ever collegiate game, and he was pretty much on their best player by far on offense. He was matched up with him. That's what I kept on thinking. Why can't Pruitt and Ansley figure something out to kind of take that away? But they were wide open pretty much all game long across the middle.
I saw some people saying, why not move Thompson and just have him follow that kid no matter where he goes? Follow him to the freaking bathroom if you have to. Put Bryce Thompson on and lock him down. I don't know. I think you know what we saw in the secondary. Obviously, it was ugly across the middle all night long. But it really hurt this team, going back to what you said, that Schamberger was out, and then you had to move Thompson back to safety. This secondary was a mess compared to what you know. We were hoping you had Taylor and Thompson on the outside, and you just didn't have it. But guys, we have 100 people exactly watching in the live chat. Do us a favor, do hit that thumbs up. We got 61 thumbs up right now. 100 of you could all press that button, and you wouldn't believe how much it helps the Talkin VAWLS network. But we appreciate you guys being here tonight. There are some other bright spots that I want to get to and I want to talk to. But Dauber, what's something positive for you? Something you saw tonight that gives you a little hope moving forward through this 10-game SEC schedule?
You know, the ability to bend and not break. And I know that's kind of coach speak. That's an old Philip Fulmerism. You know, we kind of got we were at a point where we could go up 2 scores, and we missed the field goal. They come down, tie it up. I'm seeing a lot of people talking about Banks and his stupid penalties that he had. You know, and I said this in a tailgate show. The mark of a good team is overcoming those miscues, the poor execution, the penalties, the turnovers, which we didn't have a turnover tonight. So, I mean, that's a positive. But the ability to get past those errors, either, you know, penalties, lack of execution, the bad snap on the punt, and you know, that was a total. Oh man, I was pretty hot at that point in time in the game, but to be able to come out and to have some of those errors and still be able to come out with a W. Did South Carolina ever have the lead?
Yeah, I mean, at the beginning, 7-0.
Right, but after that, no, they didn't. Right?
No, they tied it up after we went up 21-7. You know, start the second half, we went right down the field, and I thought, man, we're going to pour it on, and then you know, it wasn't no time flat. They were back 21-21. It just felt like that Tennessee. It's almost like that we just got lax there, I guess,
right.
and just kind of just you know took the foot off the pedal there, and kind of just thought that they were just going to that South Carolina might just give up, but to their credit, they didn't.
And you know, I guarantee you, I know that I was, and the majority of the people that I was sitting here watching the game with, And you guys were probably the same way. South Carolina comes out, goes right down the field and scores. And we're like, man, here we go. Tim Bradley was talking about in the tailgate show, coming out, punching them in the mouth and going right at it, foot on the gas, and don't let up. And we never really got to that point, but you could see the game never got out of reach for us because, like I said, we came down, we scored, and that's the closest South Carolina ever got. They tied us, and then we were able to make enough plays to do enough to, it came down to a fluky punt situation off of a blocker. And, hey, sometimes karma has to go our way. The ball bounces our way. That's not the way it usually goes for us. But
I'd rather come out and sit and win the game versus the way that it went down. And, that's what was it? The next to the last drive, not a whole lot of time on the clock. If you can come down, get a few first downs, run some clock, and they come out and they throw 3 straight times. JP, I know you had a problem with that.
Oh, I mean, that was
this is perfect timing. And then you can go into it. Joey Inslee with a $4.99 super chat. Someone please tell Big Jim it's okay to keep running the ball when you know they can't consistently stop you. Early, I feel like they had trouble running the ball. But then when they came out in the second half, I thought they ran the ball well, especially Chandler. But, yeah, touch on that. Some play calling there late in the game, JP, what you thought.
I mean, it's time and time again with Chaney. He goes into those funks where it seems like that he's just pass happy. I mean, and that was very disappointing drive there. 8 minutes to go, I guess. Tennessee had just held them. It was a bad punt by South Carolina. Tennessee gets the ball right at midfield and 3 straight throws. And like you said, Boogie, I mean, you can play devil's advocate with it and say, well, they picked up 3-4 yards on the first one, which is, pretty much the same as a run. And then Keaton just drops the other one for a first down. And then JG airmails the other one on third down. But, the problem that I got with it is we didn't even give ourselves a chance because we throw it three straight times. And then at that point in time, you're trying to shorten the ball game too. I mean, you got 8 minutes left and you got the ball at midfield. Run some clock there. I mean, we didn't even take a minute off of the clock because of the incompletion. So that's where I think Chaney is a good coordinator, but man, he can do some of those. Just sometimes he just and especially, I guess what gets me is where that Garantano has proved time and time again that he's not consistent quarterback, and it's like that we put the game on his shoulders. So and that's what I don't understand with that. That's what that I don't understand. But it's we were fortunate. I mean, Tennessee was fortunate for sure. So I was pretty excited to see how the offensive line bounced back in the second half. I mean, obviously we only had 10 yards at halftime rushing. I think they ended up with 138 or something like that total, close to it. So, I mean, obviously, but that's what I didn't understand when Tennessee came out in the second half and just ran it right down South Carolina's throat. But then it's like that we started going away from that again and everything. But that's going back, and I don't want to keep going back to it. If you can't sustain drives, if your quarterback cannot hit the open receivers or, sustain drives, it's going to happen to you. But overall, I thought other than a couple of drops there, I thought that the wide receivers looked pretty good. I think Belvis Jones can be a good player for us. I mean, he done really good on the kickoff returns that he got a chance to return for that. So and Palmer and I think Keaton is going to be good too. So I think that we got some talent there. We just gotta find somebody that can consistently
Go
get
back
them
to
the football.
the first 15,
Yeah,
20
I
minutes.
mean,
of
it
this show.
is. It
I
is. I
hate
mean,
to say it and keep,
but it's true.
It is so true. It's so true. Pecan back with another $2. He's just tipping us $2 at a time, just throwing $2 at us every few minutes. How the heck do we still have Chris Winky? I don't know. Winky the Pooh. Pecan, you're the one that started it. That's a Talkin VAWLS shirt in the making right there.
Sounds like Pecan thinks maybe that it's Winky's problem that JG so inconsistent. So
look, like I said earlier, I am the sunshine pumper. I am positive all the time. I'm done defending Jarrett Garantano. Like, I think he's a good kid. I wish him all the success in the world, but it is what it is, man. We're going to get the same kid all year long. It is what it is. They did enough to get the win tonight, so we'll figure it out next week. But I'm with you, JP, and I wonder, you kind of mentioned this in our text thread during the game. The balls come out after halftime. They start the third quarter, and it's just a healthy dose of Chandler, and he looked good, the offensive line. I kind of wonder, you think Pruitt got in Chaney's ear and said, run the dang football? And if so, where's that conversation at late in the game when you need to run the football?
I know. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I would think that he probably did the way he came out and, the way they came out and ran it started second half. But like you said, why didn't they continue to do that at times? But, I mean, I know that you can't just line it up and just run it every single time, obviously. And we shouldn't have to, but if we got a quarterback that can't consistently make the routine throws, it's just the way that it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be a struggle every single game, and we'll get blowed out by the much better teams, the Georgias and the Floridas and the Alabamas and all that. And then it'll be a struggle to win the 6 ball games that Tennessee should win. I mean, that's the ceiling with Garantano. I mean, that's just what it is.
But what is, because we had the same type of conversations last year, and what we heard was that Shrout and Maurer are inconsistent and they turn the ball over too much in practice. But we're talking about practice, right? I rewatched last year's South Carolina game this week, and it's just 2 identical routes of Callaway crossing the field. And it's the touchdown that you talked about actually last week. Garantano throws the ball and he underthrows it. There's nobody deep and to the right. He just needs to lead him and it's a touchdown. He underthrows him. Callaway goes up, makes a great catch for a big gain. And then later in the game, after Garantano went out for the wrist injury, same exact route, same exact play, same exact coverage, and Shrout just hits him in stride, perfect touchdown. Dauber, do you think Shrout, if he's in the game, is it a different offense? Do you think he can be the guy? And if he can be, then why is Jarrett Garantano in the game?
That's a loaded question, and especially with all the limited media availability, with the lack of practice reports that we're getting. Everything that we've seen says Shrout is ahead of Maurer right now. Because Maurer's been hampered by the hamstring injury. I don't know. I think you have to ride the experience. The one that protects the ball. I know that Pruitt last year said Shrout is a good quarterback, but he's a raw talent, and that's what I think is holding him back. And it's not that JG is a polished talent. He just has the experience. And I think that is what's going for him, because it's not talent alone. I mean, you could put any of them out there to sling it around. But JG, he holds on to the ball too long for a sack instead of forcing it into coverage, or, he typically protects the ball. Jack Vols with a good comment there. How long before one of them transfers? you know, that's a good question, because one of those guys is, you know, on the short end of the stick looking for playing time, and you know,
It's just weird because last year it was an open quarterback competition. We kept hearing that the best guy plays, and this year it just seems like that has been shut down completely. And this is Jarrett Garantano's team until he does something like he did at Alabama last year that causes everybody to lose their minds.
Let me hit this super chat here from Donovan Milliken here.
Which one? There's two of them.
The we need to be 70% run and 30% pass.
Can you thank him for the super chat and tell him you appreciate his support?
Yes. Thank you very much for dropping that super chat. We so appreciate your support.
That's right.
Appreciate you being here and listening.
Mm.
I want to get to one of the things that I saw tonight, and I said it in our text back and forth. Chandler ran the ball so much better than Gray tonight.
Yeah, Gray was a little disappointing.
Gray was doing a lot of the dancing around,
Yep.
multiple moves in the backfield, not planning and getting upfield. But the 3rd and 2 that Gray was in on and got stopped after a 1-yard gain. Then it was 4th and 1. We tried the long field goal that got. I don't know if he got a hand on it or if it was just a rushed kick that got shanked. That shows our lack of having a power back, our lack of somebody in there that we can throw in there for a short yardage back for a 3rd and 2, a 4th and 1.
Well, where's Crouch in that situation? Of course, and we were hearing that D. Beckwith was going to be the guy, and he's actually injured, right? It's not COVID.
He did. I don't think he traveled. He hurt an ankle last week, but we brought in 2 guys, and I talked about it in my running backs video. T. Hodge and Laneith Whitehead. Whitehead's coming off of a injury that prematurely ended his senior year of high school. Still kind of rehabbing that. T. Hodge was supposedly doing pretty well. I don't think he saw the field tonight. But we don't have that guy we can throw out there, the bigger power running back that can bowling ball through and push that line forward for a 1-2 yard gain. But tonight, Chandler was rushing for a 3, 4, 5 yard carry every time he touched the ball.
He averaged almost 6 yards a carry.
So why go away from that?
6.6.
Why go away from that? I think you have to kind of get a feel for the game. You have to see who's got the hot hand. I think you roll with Chandler on that. It's 3rd and 2. If you're going to run the ball, put the guy who is having success in.
Yeah, Chandler had 13 for 86, 6.6. Gray was 3.3 average, so twice as much average.
I want to throw that back up there because Donovan Milliken did do 2 super chats back to back. SEC should be ashamed for the Cade May situation. We talked about that pretty in depth on the tailgate show before the game. And yeah, I mean, you're right. In a year where eligibility doesn't matter, you're not going to let a kid play. And it's not just him. There are other players in the SEC, but also why are you stringing these kids along and not letting them know? There's no reason. They know what the answer is. Cade Mays is not going to play it down for Tennessee this year. I just don't see it.
I mean, it could be another one of them deals where they just all of a sudden 3 weeks into the season, but yeah, you're eligible, which is stupid. But I wouldn't be surprised if that doesn't happen after the Georgia game, maybe.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know. I mean, thing about it is, I mean, the offensive line, I mean, yes, I mean, we definitely love to have Cade Mays out there, but I don't think the offensive line is the concern here. I mean, it's we got to get that defensive line better. We got to get some better pass rush, and we got to figure out how to stop the slant too, and across the middle.
My goodness.
Well, and I wonder. I don't even know if it's with Schamberger coming back. Once the secondary gets shifted back around, even still though, my goodness, you get lit up. That's something that plagued them last year too, across the middle. And so I wonder if it's something with Pruitt's defense and Ansley's defense that's just where they're exposed is across the middle.
Probably so, but again, I feel like that we'll see improvement with this defense as season goes on. I think them just getting this game underneath their belt, getting some live action there, and getting some tape to go back and study and review. And then I don't even know what Missouri did with Alabama. I think they got beat like 39-19 or something like that.
Yeah, it wasn't a blowout. It was pretty close. I recorded it because I want to watch it and see what Missouri's got.
Like it was a blowout early.
Yeah, it was like 35-3 at one point. I think it was. I think Bama probably.
But before we start going down that route, let me throw this out there. We've said since Wednesday, since our pregame show Wednesday, that this had potential to be a sloppy game. We had potential to see a bunch of miscues, a bunch of lack of execution. Everything was kind of a wild card with how we approached the beginning of this season. How much of that is reflective of the game we saw tonight, and how much of that is where this team actually is? What do you all think about that? What do you guys in the chat think of that?
I'm going to go ahead and kick the dead horse some more. If Garantano can complete some passes that he should complete, this is a blowout, and we are having a completely different type of conversation. Look, the defense came out flat on that first drive. They looked flat out terrible, and I was going down that same rabbit hole. I was like, oh, no, not getting the full 25 practices in. We can – all the kids out for COVID. We can see this. Like, I was genuinely concerned. And then I felt like the defense made some changes. They dialed it in. They played good. A little later, obviously you're getting torched across the middle. They fell apart at times too. But overall, when you're talking about sloppy play, how many penalties did they have? 3, 4 maybe?
They ended up with 6, actually. Yeah.
6? Well, you had a couple on that last drive too.
Yeah.
Overall,
6 for 50. Yeah, overall, I mean, it was a clean game. And obviously, we didn't turn the ball over. I mean, we had that one – I guess you could almost call it a turnover there on that muffed punt. But other than that, I mean, it was a clean game. And obviously that's probably what won the game for Tennessee ultimately is not having any turnovers or a bunch of penalties. Banks had 2 stupid penalties.
Yeah, you take those penalties late, and I guess it's easy to go, well, you take those 6 penalties off, and they did all right. But Banks is stupid, man. People in the chat have been talking about him, and I wanted to kind of get there, so we can do it now. He's the part of him that makes you love the kid, the aggression, the energy, the excitement, is also his downfall.
It's a double-edged sword.
He's on that fine line at all times. Like the one kid jawing to him, and he throws up the double biceps right in his face. It's like, let's just get back in the huddle and let's just calm down a little bit. But if he could just dial it back just a little bit, man. Like I said, he's one of those kids. He's like a Juwan Jennings, man. He's a dog. He's going to fight you. If I'm going to war in the trenches, I want him beside me because I know he is giving 110%, maybe a little bit more at all times. So, yeah, you take the good and you take the bad, and that's Jeremy.
But Banks. I mean, I think Banks needs to make some plays before he starts, acting like Juwan Jennings,
Sure. But yeah, you're right. Let me hit the super chat. Pecan dropping another $5, guys. It means a lot to us. We appreciate all of the support with the super chats, with the hitting the thumbs up, all that good stuff. We're just here to hang out and talk Tennessee football. Pecan for $5 says, did these games not feel weird? All of them were quiet. fans make a big impact. Just think if South Carolina stands were packed, would we have won? That's a good point. That's a good point. But that's across the board. It's going to be when teams travel into Neyland, it ain't going to be that same atmosphere that we're used to. It's the strange world that we live in right now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, and Grayson Pugh there talking about DeAndre Johnson. Yeah, I mean, he definitely came on that first drive. He was bad.
He was slow on he could have stopped the touchdown. He was in position. He just couldn't get to the ball carrier.
Yeah, he was. I don't know what his deal was, but yeah, he definitely came on. Thank goodness. But yeah, he was that first drive. I was like, where's Roman Harrison? Why is Harrison not out there? You know, but I didn't see Harrison play a whole lot tonight, so I don't know. Evidently, they're not. He's not performing as well as they would like, I guess, if he's not out there. So I don't know. Somebody's asking about Crouch. I think Crouch was probably the victim of some of those over the middle passes. I think he was a victim of that tonight. So lots and lots of work to do. But obviously, you know, I mean, we are 1-0. SEC win 1-0. It's a lot better than being 0-1 for sure, like it was last year. So Tennessee has a great opportunity to start the season out 2-0. I mean, next week at home against Missouri, you know, Tennessee needs to find a way to win that game. And then you got, I think it's Georgia then, right? You got your Bulldogs and
Georgia's got a couple of weeks to find a quarterback too.
They look like they have some stuff to work on. So,
yeah. You know, they definitely do. I mean, they looked in that first half. I mean, they looked absolutely horrible. I mean, I was loving it. I mean, I was absolutely loving it. I mean, it was awesome watching them struggle like that. But you have to imagine that they're going to find a quarterback. I mean, I know that Bennett guy came in there in the third quarter or halftime or in the second quarter or whatever, and he kind of they pulled away there at the end. But with that, so it'll be interesting to see with that. But see, they play Auburn next week, so that's definitely going to be a much tougher challenge for them. So looking forward to watching that game.
I mean, one thing that really kind of stuck out to me tonight was the inability to extend drives on third down and then flip it over defensively, the inability to stop them on third down, get off the field.
Yeah.
And I think Pruitt kind of touched on that going off the field at halftime. It's just one of those things. I mean, you have to kind of bow up on third down and know where the line is and defend to the line. We were just kind of we gave up a lot of cheap yardage. I think on plays where we weren't really firing off to the ball and pursuing. And I think that goes back to what I alluded to earlier, the potential for a sloppy game, the potential for mistakes, and just everybody kind of getting into game mode. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the night, though, it's a W. We're on to week 2, 1-0. We've got things to work on. Yeah, I mean, I'm not ecstatic because there are flaws that I saw that go back to last year, things that haven't been corrected. But I am excited. There is potential. I do see some things that are positive that this team has going for them. But I think across the board, you know, we saw miscues on offense. We saw miscues on defense. We saw a couple things on special teams that could have really gone wrong. And that was one of Pruitt's main concerns going into the season with the lack of practice and stuff. he said, I really don't know what's going to happen on special teams.
I want to let me piggyback on special teams here, but let me hit these super chats first. This is a first for us. This is cool. Matthew Taylor with I'm not sure what form of currency that is, but it's 2,000 something, and we appreciate it. Says VFL, hello from Korea. Hope everyone stays safe. That's awesome. Thanks for the support.
Well,
that is a first.
That's cool. We appreciate that. And Joey Inslee with a $4.99 super chat says, great show, boys. Not hating on Big Jim, but a well-balanced offense controls the clock. Let's learn and improve this week. Go Big Orange. Yeah, we started this show pretty negative. There's some good things, there's some bad things, but at the end of the day, in the words of Coach Fulmer, we're going to work like heck and get better. And let's see that improvement next week. Let's continue to build and gain momentum because, like JP said, this team has a good opportunity to be going into Georgia 2-0, and we saw Georgia had issues. So maybe this team can get to 3-0, and then we'll go from there. But I want to see improvement week in and week out. And hopefully, I'm not even going to say that. I'm not going to say it. I'm going to be good. I'm going to go back to my old sunshine pumper and not hate on anybody anymore. What I wanted to ask you guys about special teams, you think it's a good or a bad decision to have Eric Gray back there returning punts?
It's very risky considering the depth at running back.
Yeah.
I mean, very, very risky.
We saw Jones on kicks. Why not move him over to punts? I mean, can he not catch a punt?
Especially as dynamic as he looked. I mean, I saw some people comparing him to Barry. I wouldn't go that far. I mean, when Barry got the ball, you're looking. I mean, talk about dynamic. Jones looked good, and Jones looked good. As a wide receiver too. I like the bump sweep, whatever you want to call it. I like that play. He's quick, man. He ran some good routes.
When he caught the ball and had a little bit of space, he made some people miss those end arounds or sweeps or whatever. Like you said, I mean the kid has a pretty high upside. Why not put him back there? Maybe punts are a little bit harder to field. You got them barreling down on you. Maybe Gray's, a little bit more sure-handed. That's one of the things. Like our main, the Indy kid says, you put your best guys back there. If that's something that Jones can't do, if he can't field a kick or a punt safely, man, don't take that chance.
It just makes me nervous, man, when, we've talked about it all leading up to the season. What happens if Chandler or Gray goes down? You're going to be looking at a freshman in the backfield. It just concerns me. That's my look. I get it. I'm with the Indy kid. Put your best guys on the field, unless you only got two running backs you can lean on. Then I get a little concerned.
That's the thing, though. We are going to have to rely on freshmen at the running back position.
At some point,
you are not going to be able to go through a 10-game SEC conference schedule with two running backs, especially when they're not, when they are just a average. They're not a power back. They're not big guys. They're not built to sustain hits, and they're not short yardage backs. You're going to have somebody else step up. We're going to have to rely on somebody else in the backfield. Is it Phil Zameen? I don't know. He's not.
It ain't gonna be him.
It ain't gonna be him.
He ain't even on the team.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't know.
Smalls. I guess it'd be Jabari Small.
T. Hodge, Jabari Small. It's one of those guys.
Depends on if they get healthy. I guess Hodge does.
Yeah.
It just concerns me when you start putting young guys back there. The one thing that always comes up is pass protection. And it seems to be the one thing that young running backs struggle with in that transition from high school to college. Scenic made a good point, too. Wish Jalen Hyatt got more looks. He got one target, and it was an inaccurate pass. There were a lot of those. Well, I guess – sorry, I said I wasn't going to do that anymore. What happened to Pruitt telling us that all 70 guys were going to play? I guess he forgot about that. All we've heard about is these freshman receivers, and he went with a lot of upperclassmen. And that's fine. That's fine. But I do want to see guys like Jalen Hyatt get more opportunities. But hey, like you said earlier, JP, I thought the wide receivers looked pretty good for the most part tonight.
Yeah. I mean, Keaton dropped one or two, that especially there on that one drive that was kind of criticizing Cheney about there when it was up by
Right at
7.
the first down marker. Yeah,
right at the first down marker. And then he had that long pass that JG threw to him that he beat the guy, but Keaton looked over the wrong shoulder. So we were talking about it here watching the game. I was like, well, does that mean that Garantano threw the ball on the wrong side, or did Keaton look the wrong way? And then by the time that he turned around, I guess he didn't have his judgment there, and it kind of went through his hands. So, but who knows exactly how that ball was supposed to have been thrown? Whether that's
a tough catch too. The way that played out, that's a tough catch.
Yeah, with that. But I mean, I thought the wide receivers played pretty good, and I thought Velvis Jones certainly is a kid that can help us for sure.
Yep.
One thing about it, I think that we have upgraded speed at wide receiver for sure. We definitely have more speed out there than we've had in several years for sure. There's definitely speed out there.
And that's what Cheney has said. We've got guys that they may not be getting to the right spot, but they're getting where they're going fast. We got to teach them where they need to be and to catch the ball. So that's one of the things that you deal with freshmen. Like Boogie was talking about earlier. That was Eric Gray's downfall last year, and that's why I don't think he saw the field a lot once we got to SEC play. Was a lack of pass protection, a lack of being able to block out of the backfield, and that's what looking at potentially relying on some of these freshman running backs this year. What is a little bit daunting and scary to think about putting them back there to be the guy that's catching the blitz for Garantano. It's one of those things that we're just going to have to continue to work on, continue to improve, and limp grind through to the next week and get better.
Sean Calvert says, "Happy heart attack season, guys." It's so true, man. I rinsed my face with cold water about 4 different times because my blood pressure is just going through the roof. I can't take this. Can't take this anymore. We're about to wrap this thing up. Right now, we do have 105 people watching live on YouTube. Guys, you are awesome. We appreciate all the support. You guys are helping this show grow. All the super chats, everybody that picked up the new State Pride logo merchandise. We appreciate that. The links for all of that, as well as the old, the original Talkin VAWLS logo, the cartoon emoji logo, all that stuff. The links to all the merch is in the description as well. Yeah, there you go. There's the cartoon heads. But, honestly, we're just glad you guys are here talking football, but the support financially and otherwise, it truly does mean the world to us. If you're new here, make sure you join us. We are live every single Wednesday night at 7:00 p.m. Eastern time, and also on Saturdays after the game. As soon as the game ends, we get set up and go live as quickly as possible. We're going to try to do some videos throughout the week if anything comes up. And then also, if you guys want us to continue to do that tailgate show, it's not as big and as popular as the main show, but it's kind of fun. And we had some of the listeners came on today and got to make some points. So that was cool, and we appreciate that. But again, I think that's going to wrap this thing up. We're going to break down the game, the Missouri game. We're going to break that down on Wednesday night, so make sure you tune in for that. But for Vols JP, for Dauber, I am Boogie Bentley. The Vols are 1-0, so I got one thing left to say, and that is go Big Orange.
The Vols, how